Hey guys, I wanted to make a quick video to go over some of the problems from yesterday and then go over some other things that will help with your assignment today. So yesterday I saw a bunch of people had trouble with figuring out which was the height and which is the base of the triangle. So these were the two problems that I had in your assignment where you had to figure that out, and a lot of people switched them. So let me just start by saying, technically, if you're trying to find the area of a triangle, it doesn't really matter because multiplication can go in any order. So base times height would give you the same answer as height times base. The same way that 5 times 2 equals 10, but 2 times 5 also equals 10. So technically it's not going to change your answer. I just wanted to go over it with you. So the base is always going to be the side of one of the triangles. The height is going to be if you start at the base and you go straight up. So in both of these triangles, it was a little bit tricky because I guess they're kind of tilted sideways. It probably would have made more sense to you if the triangle was standing upright like this. And it would have been a little bit easier to see that this side is my base. It's like the bottom of the triangle. It's one of the side lengths. And then this red line right here is starting at the base and it's going straight up to the very top point of the triangle. And we see it made that nice little right angle. So this is the height of the triangle. We started from the bottom, started at the bottom, and now we're up here. Okay? But even if it's not, standing like that and it's maybe more sideways like this, we can still see that this would be considered the base because it's one of the side lengths. This line in the middle can't be the base of a triangle because no matter which way you turn it, it's never going to be the bottom. So this would be my base and this would be my height. Over here, same thing. This side right here, 3, this is the base of my triangle because if I turn the triangle, that side would, that side would be on the bottom, right? Like if you tilt your head sideways and you make the triangle look like this. Plus, super important, we can see that if I was going to start at the bottom and draw a line straight up to the top and end at the same level that the point is at, this would be my height. So this problem had the height drawn in. They just moved it over to right over here. They put their height out on the edge. So that would be the height of my triangle. That can't be the base because that line is not even a part of the triangle, so it can't be the bottom of the triangle. It doesn't even make sense. It's not a part of the triangle, so it has to be the height. So it might make more sense to look at it that way, but even so, we can still figure out that that's the height. Okay, so then a couple other things. There's a couple different ways to do the area formula. So the regular formula is area equals half times base times height. So option number 1, of course, if you're working with decimals, don't use the fraction version of 1/2. Use the decimal version of 1/2. 0.5 is the same thing as a half. So if you have decimals in your triangle, I would work with decimal version. Your other option is if you have all even numbers or it's easy to divide by 2, you can do that instead. You can do area equals base times height divided by 2. These two expressions, well, technically all 3 expressions, they're all equivalent to one another. They are all equivalent. Let's write that. Equivalent. And we'll make it purple. Multiplying something by a half is the same thing as dividing it by 2. That's really important to know. Oh, multiplying by 1/2 and dividing by 2 are the same thing. I'm going to do a quick example to show you that. So first, I'm going to do this problem using this method. So area equals 1/2 times base times height. So I would do 1/2 times, and the base here is 5, so 1/2 times 5 times the height is 4. Okay. But that equals, well, I'm going to keep the 1/2. I'm not going to multiply that yet. First, I'm going to start by multiplying 5 times 4, because I know that's 20. Right? So 1/2 times 20, well, you know how to multiply fractions. You turn this whole number, you put it over 1. 1 times 20 is 20. 2 times 1 is 2. And we can simplify this. 20 over 2 is the same thing as 10 over 1, which is just 10. So the area of this triangle is 10 centimeters squared. I mean, I also know that just because I know that half of 20 is 10. But if I wanted, I could have done my math this way, using base times height divided by 2. And sometimes people like that better. So we would have done base times height divided by 2. So that would have been, well, the base is 5 times the height is 4, and then divide that whole answer by 2. So that would have equaled 5 times 4 is 20. And then here it is. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So we get the same answer. Multiplying 20 times 1/2 is 10, and doing 20 divided by 2 is 10. So no matter which way you want to do your math, it doesn't matter to me. You're going to get the same answer. So the only time this would be hard is if maybe you had an odd number here, like 21 divided by 2. Isn't quite as easy, so maybe then you would have wanted to use either this version or this version, but it doesn't matter. Whichever one you like is what you can do. So let's just do 2 practice problems and then we'll be done. So right now I want you guys to, in your notebooks, copy down both of these triangles and try to find the area of each triangle. All right? And then when you're done, click play so we can check our answers. All right, so now that you've done these, hopefully, let's check. So I want to find the area of this first triangle here. So I know. Now, before I even start, I see that I have decimals in here. So I might want to use the decimal version of this. I'm not sure yet. So maybe I'll just start by writing that. 1/2 times, and the base is 6.6, that's the bottom of the triangle. And the height, if we start at the bottom and we go straight up to the top point, I see the height is 4.5. So I personally always like to start by multiplying the base and the height first, because sometimes it's an easy number that I can divide by 2. So I'm going to do that. So first I'm going to multiply 6.6 times 4.5, and that answer is 29.7. So now I have to do half times 29.7, or I could do 29.7 divided by 2, whichever I want. But I think for this one, I'm going to do 29.7 times 0.5, because that's easier for me. And we get the answer 14.85 feet squared. That is my area of this first triangle. If you did it a different way, that's totally fine, as long as you have the same answer. For triangle number 2, I see that there's fractions here, so I'm definitely probably going to want to use the fraction version of this formula. So area equals 1/2 times, now what's the base? The base is 5 over 4, 5/4. And the height is, see, we start at the base of the triangle, we go straight up to the top point. The height is 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to bring down my first 1/2. That's the 1/2 that's in the formula. And I'm going to start by first multiplying the base times the height. You guys know how to multiply fractions, nice and easy. You multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. 5 times 1 is 5 on top. 4 times 2, that would be 8 in the bottom. So now I have 1/2 times 5/8. Okay. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 8 is 16. Now I always have to check, can I simplify this fraction? No, not this one, so I am done. 5/16 feet squared is the area of this triangle. And that's it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know.